Tonight on Joy News Prime, Chairman of Audit Service Board justifies decision to change lock to Office of Auditor General, insisting it had to be secured since Mr. Domelevo had showed up earlier to pick some documents without informing the Acting Auditor General.
Acting Auditor General informed us that he wasn't happy about the security of that office, and therefore he was suggesting that we secure the place. The board authorized him to buy new locks and secure the place.
Supreme Court strikes out a request to restrain Johnson Ekwamu-Asiedu from acting as Auditor General. Also in this bulletin, Member of Parliament for Asawasi and Minority Chief Whip takes on security agencies for standing by unconcerned after NPP sympathizer allegedly pulled a gun at a registration center in Abuabo number 1.
Sometimes they even arrest the person without even knowing why they arrested the person. You see all this deliberateness. Some of the police officers and the military guys and the EC officials are in bed with the government and they are doing all this.
Meanwhile, National Peace Council says it is not getting the desired cooperation from political parties in the attainment of electoral peace.
You don't force the person out of the queue. The political parties have decided to disregard this mechanism. These are all things that we expect the political parties to know and adhere to.
And in business,
over 45% of Ghanaians said to be poor. We have the breakdown of latest multidimensional poverty index.
The multidimensional poverty index shows that the poor are most deprived.
And later in this bulletin, spare parts dealers in Abosokan vow to keep shops of their Nigerian counterparts locked, as they say it is part of series of action to take against them for taking over their businesses and operating illegally in the retail space.
If care is not taken, about 5 years out of us, they will take the market.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We're live from our studios in Kokomlemle in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on your DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Many thanks for choosing us. We begin with the chairman of the Audit Service Board, Professor Duyajeman, who has justified the decision to change the locks of Auditor General Daniel Domelevo's office. He says it was meant to secure the office. Mr. Domelevo, who is on a 167 days leave, was shocked to find that new locks had been installed at his office, denying him access. Professor Duyajeman insists Mr. Domelevo will be allowed into his office provided he informs the Acting Auditor General.
He came back, collected some documents, including a letterhead, to write back to the head of state, the president. And then also, the Acting Auditor General informed us that he wasn't happy about the security of that office, and therefore he was suggesting that we secure the place. The board authorized him to buy new locks and secure the place. When he has done that, he gave the keys to the secretary of Mr. Domelevo. My information is that the secretary decided that she will not take the keys. The keys were again given to the Deputy Auditor General in charge of Finance and Administration. I was informed by the Acting Auditor General that he says she will not take them. So we kept the keys, he kept the keys with the cashier. And as we speak now, the keys are with the cashier. Yesterday, the Acting Auditor General informed me that Mr. Domelevo came to the office, went straight to his office and couldn't get in. So he came back to inform him that he has not been given access to the place. He explained to him that the board asked him to secure the place and that the keys are with the cashier. So he could go for it. My information from the Acting Auditor General, it explained to him that the board asked him to secure the place and that the keys are with the cashier. So he could go for it. My information from the Acting Auditor General is that he said he was very furious that we have locked the place and given the keys to the cashier, so he wasn't going for it. And then he went straight to Joy FM and then the other FM stations and reported. So that's how the case was. His office is there. The keys are available for the cashier, and if he wants to go there, he must get to the acting Auditor General, and he will direct him as to where he can get the keys to get to his office. Nobody has locked him out of the office.
But Prof, you have occupied that office before. If you go on leave, must the locks in your office be changed?
Yeah. But if I go on leave, and there is a problem about the office, the locks, the board has every right to make sure that the place is secure.
What is the problem about the locks?
The problem about the locks was that Mr. Domilevo came there a day after he has left and went there, collected letterhead and also without telling the acting Auditor General that he was there. So,
but that is his office. He's just on leave.
Yes, but somebody is acting for him. Don't you see this? That somebody is there acting for him, and therefore, if anytime he wanted to come there, the courtesy would be that, okay, I'm here to take A, B, C, D.
Joining me via Zoom is Adam Senano. He's co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Adam, I'm grateful that you joined us. Does the explanation offered by the Audit Service Board Chairman resolve the issue?
Good evening, and absolutely not. I mean, this sounds so incredulous, really incredulous. That what?
Well, we're having issues with internet. We'll try and get Adam Senano back on this, possibly on phone, to make his point on this matter. Adam, are you back? Well, but let's stay a while longer on the Auditor General because the Supreme Court has struck out a request to restrain Johnson Ekwamu-Asiedu from acting as Auditor General. This was after the court had granted Deputy Attorney General Godfrey Yeboadame's request to have Mr. Asiedu and Auditor General Daniel Domelevo struck out as defendants in the case. The matter was filed by CDD Fellow in Public Law and Justice, Professor Stephen Asari. Court correspondent Joseph Akable has more.
The Office of the President on July 4 extended a leave period of Auditor General Daniel Domelevo from 123 days to 167 days effective July 1, 2020. This came in the wake of concerns raised by the Auditor General over the directive to take his accumulated leave. Professor Asare is one of the key legal analysts who called out the move by the presidency, describing it as unconstitutional. He argues that the Office of the Auditor General is a very important position that should not be toyed with. He maintains annual leave is by nature voluntary. He also explains that this is a right earned by an employee that should not be available to the appointing authority to be deployed as a sanction to exercise disciplinary control. When the case was called Wednesday morning, justices of the Apex Court raised questions as to why Mr. Asiedu and the Auditor General have been named as defendants in the case. They pointed out that the case is challenging the President's directive and not any action undertaken by the two. The court therefore struck out the two as defendants in the case. Lawyer for Professor Asari then withdrew his request for an injunction as the panel once again pointed out that the injunction should have been sought against the Attorney General who is defending the President's action and not the victim of the action or the beneficiary. Mr. Dami has hinted of filing another motion to have the case dismissed on the basis that documents filed by Professor Asari need verification.
Let's go back to our earlier story of the closure of Daniel Domelevo, Auditor General, and Adam Senano is back on the phone. He's co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Adam, you were earlier making the point about the explanation offered by the Audit Service Board Chairman that Mr. Domelevo did not approach the acting Auditor General before coming to the office, and that was why his office was locked.
Well, I was making the point that that's a very incredulous point or statement he was making. I mean, all of us go on leave. When I'm on leave and I'm coming back to the office, I don't start telling people who are acting I'm coming from passing by and come to check my mail or, you know, say hi to friends. This is really, either you want to look at it as being very petty, or else, I mean, if this is what we are going to spend our time focusing on as the board of the audit service, then we've gotten everything topsy-turvy. This does not actually explain why an office of a substantive, independent Auditor General who is on leave should have the locks changed. At this point, if anything has been tampered with in that office, who do we hold responsible? I don't think that this flies at all.
But what should have been the ideal situation, Mr. Senano?
Well, the ideal situation is simply that the man is on leave. He's coming to his office. It's the office he's occupied all this time. It is not as if there are any criminal things against him. So one will say he's on suspension, so hand over keys, hand over property, don't be around. Nothing of that sort has transpired. In a normal circumstance where you are taking your leave, and remember that leave is at the behest of the person, it's not the employer. You are taking your leave, you may leave some things on your table, decide that you'll pop in after a week and pick them up. You may want to check your mail. This should not have been an issue at all. There should have been no difficulty about the fact that he's walked in and gone to his office and moved out or checked his mail, etc. Really, it just doesn't make sense.
You've been appalled by this whole leave issue and the matters arising out of it. What does the Citizens Movement Against Corruption intend to do about this situation?
Well, as you know, together with over 500 civil society organizations, and I like to stress the fact that this is extremely rare. To get all the NGOs, civil society organizations say there's everything manifestly wrong with what has happened. It's very unusual, and this is happening because we can look into the future, and nobody needs to be a prophet to tell us that this precedent sets us back more than 20 years, because you can have a situation where a presidency says the Chief Justice should go on leave at a critical time, or the Electoral Commissioner. It just doesn't make sense. So, in any case, we think that it's an illegal position. There are many of us who have spoken up against it. We are currently part of the processes in court. But besides that, we'll continue to count down to make sure that the checks and balances or the constitutional arrangement sticks to project will be guarded. We should not leave this and then down the line we'll look back and say we regret it. This is slippery slope and it is dangerous.
I'm truly grateful for your time. Edem Senano is co-chairman of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Back to Parliament, Member of Parliament for Asawasi, Muntaka Mubarak, has accused security agencies of bias in a fiscal confrontation at Abuabo No. 1, where an NPP agent pulled a gun at a registration center. A viral video of the incident shows the armed man who described himself as a national security person brandishing a pistol and threatening to shoot in the presence of military personnel. Asawasi constituency chairman of the NPP, Mohammed Moro, however, blames the MP for the incident after sending his personal police guard to the registration center. Love FM's Erastus Sasaridonko has been to the constituency and now reports.
This is a policeman who was using it. So I want to send this picture to the whole world. If somebody die here, they will not hold anybody responsible. I'm telling you, wallahi.
A decision by the MP for Asawasi to leave his bodyguard at this registration center was fiercely resisted by NPP agents led by this man, Yushao Yakubu, who describes himself as a national security operative. In a video that has gone viral, he is seen pulling a gun and threatening to shoot if the bodyguard of Muntaka Mubarak does not leave the scene. The MP says this action was condoned by the security agents present.
Where my bodyguard was seated, that's where we were seated. I was seated there. No provocation, nothing. And when they came earlier, before they called the police and the military together, they pulled a gun. But the moment they saw the military and the police, now they became emboldened. And he had the gut to pull the gun. And my expectation was that the military guys would have arrested him. They didn't. They were rather pleading with him. You could see it in the video. No provocation, and look, in a polling station, you pull a gun on a police officer who was holding AK-47. I mean, I thank God, and I commend my bodyguard for the patience, because not everybody will watch like Major Muhammad did, and people just killed him. I sitting here, there's no way I would have been holding AK-47, and another person who may be holding an unlawful gun. I'm holding a lawful gun, and that person is holding an unlawful gun, who pulled that gun on me. and go scot-free. I don't think.
But the NPP blames the MP for Asawasi, Muntaka Mubarak, for the physical confrontation. Here is Mohammed Moro, NPP constituency chairman for Asawasi.
The National Security Officer removed his pistol that if he didn't live there, he will shoot him. He will shoot him. So we just came there to talk to them. They should stop everything.
And all this happened at the registration center?
Yes.
What do you make of it? Is it right to pull guns at a registration center?
It's not right because the MP, he started that thing because they didn't assign the policeman in there. The policeman is a bodyguard for the MP in our constituency, and you assign him to come and sit at the polling station. It's not right.
Challenge procedures of the Electoral Commission are rarely used in such cases at this registration center. Verbal exchanges and physical confrontation is common for an area perceived to be an NDC stronghold in an NPP-dominated region. Muntaka Mubarak says many of such acts reported to the police have not been dealt with.
Since this thing started, all the evidence we've gathered, arrested, and given to police, not a single action has been taken. So we've elected dialogue.
How many instances have there been?
So many. So many. I mean, you remember the Asantemai students? Ask what happened. The teacher, the student, we have the video, everything. You remember the, what do you call it, Osei. I wrote stated names to GES, to the police. Nothing happened. Look, let me even give you the most recent one. On Sunday, we had some guys in an oven that they were bused from Edumakase in the Kwabere West. We arrested them, we took their video, they were weeping. Oh, they didn't even know they were bringing them to Asawasi. They just promised them money and what have you. I told my guys, look, yeah, we seem to be tired of reporting to police. Look, let's just go and give it to the police. We handed over to the police. We wrote a statement and did everything. It has us, you won't believe it. 5 o'clock, the police took these people and split them into 3. They were 14. Took them back to Asawasi to register.
Police say they've received a report of the incident from the police officer involved and they are investigating.
But as you can see, calm has been restored and registration is going on normally. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
And back here in Accra, in the studio, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Let's go on Zoom now and speak to security analyst Adam Bona. Adam, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure you've been following the pockets of violence that has greeted the voter registration exercise. Your preliminary comments.
Well, good evening, Aisha, and good evening to your viewers. Very worrying, I must say. Very worrying. I would have thought that just a normal civilian, what do you call that, exercise wouldn't have elicited this amount of, call it brutalities and shootings and using of firearms and all that. So for me, probably we didn't plan this particular registration exercise. So even though this is not the first time, if you ask me, I would say rather disturbing. And it's almost like a precursor to 2027 December elections if we probably don't put in the right measures, Aisha.
Some 4 months to go into the 2020 elections?
I didn't quite get your question. If you can repeat it again, please.
Should we be worried with barely 4 months into the 2020 elections with all of these violence?
Yeah, we should be worried. So long as we still have the likes of Hawa Kumsin still in office and still in Parliament and still in office, we are going to be seeing probably a lot more of Asawasi repeating itself. And you can see the young man who is purported to be a national security officer. Probably, I would rather say. He's not a career national security officer. These are foot soldiers who are brought in to sometimes perform some functions, and he's been armed. And so it tells you that
if we are not very careful, going into 2020 elections, we are going to have Ghanaians, some section of Ghanaians also deciding to arm themselves with deadly weapons. And so we should be worried because these guys should have been apprehended there and there at Asawasi. We know, I mean, those of us who work within the security space know that even if you are a police officer and you become confrontational with any of your colleagues, their own regulation requires that they detain you and do what they have to do. But you can see, was brandishing AK-47, sidearm in front of officers who were, fully kitted with their barrett and then the instrument of instruction on the barrett. And this guy didn't care because he's not properly trained security official. If not, what?
Adam Bona is a security analyst. We're having a bit of a challenge with his internet there. We'll try and get him back, but he makes the point that we should be worried as we approach 2020 elections because this will be an albatross around our neck. We'll get him back to conclude what he was saying. But the National Peace Council is lamenting it is not getting the desired cooperation from the political parties in the attainment of electoral peace. Speaking to Joy News, the Bono Regional Executive Secretary of the Peace Council, Suala Abdullah Kwada, says as a non-prosecutorial body, it can only continue its engagements with the parties and other stakeholders in their drive to hold on to the peace the country has been enjoying.
Peace building or peace work is a collective responsibility. You cannot force peace on people. So if people decide not to cooperate with you, it is very difficult for you to be able to facilitate the peace that you do. If you look at the underlying factors of all this violence in this election registration period, people busing people from different constituency to a constituency that they do not belong to. And they know it's against the law. But which people are doing it? It's the political parties. They are behind it. So are they cooperating? There is an arrangement or mechanism that if somebody is going to register and you do not agree, you suspect the person is not qualified to register. There is a process that you go through. You don't force the person out of the queue. The political parties have decided to disregard this mechanism. These are all things that we expect the political parties to know and adhere to. So if they don't do that, the best we can do is to continue talking, continue discussing with them, continue appealing to their conscience, continue appealing to their emotions, for them to appreciate the fact that what they are doing is not in the interest of peace. The political parties, yes, we are not saying that they are giving us problems, but they are not cooperating as we want them to cooperate.
We've been joined on phone by the NPP Director of Communications, Yalbo Abian-Samoa, and also NDC Communication Director, Kakra Esamoa. Let me begin with you, Kakra Esamoa. I'm grateful for your time, but the Peace Council says you are not cooperating in achieving the peace that is needed for these elections. Why?
Unfortunately, I do not understand that position by the Peace Council. We all met as political parties with them as mediators, and we drew up a roadmap and a code of conduct. The Peace Council, which was our mediator, and which saw us all through whatever happened, you've seen two people fighting, and you want to call their parents before you tell them to stop fighting. I do not understand what they are saying. It is an abandonment of duty to suggest that the political parties are not cooperating. If you have seen two people fighting, as citizens of this country, they have a right and a duty to hand them over to the police. Simple and short.
Let me bring in Messiah Yalbo Abian-Samoa. Okay, before I go to him, now there's been wide condemnations, for instance, for the Minister Hawa Kumson's conduct of firing gunshots. We've also heard of other gunshots in other areas, Asawasi, for instance. But also the NDC supporters have been accused of perpetuating violence in many of the registration centers, for instance. Are you aware? And what drastic measures are you taking to avert a recurrence?
Is the question directed to me or
to you, Kakra Esamoa?
Yes, we have reports of the violence that has occurred across the country. But the nature of the reports that we are having, we are the victims of electoral violence, and we are not the perpetrators. As you said, there was something at Kaswa You are also aware of what happened at Banda. It has happened to our people, our supporters, our sympathizers, and we are not happy at all about it. And we hope and expect that the security agencies will be fair and firm and deal with all those who are perpetrating it.
But what have you done at the party level?
At the party level, we take our people to hospital. Those who have been injured, we take them to the hospital.
Are you saying that NDC supporters are not also causing trouble at the registration centers?
I have not received any such reports. If I do, I will let you know.
So are we going to see a change in attitude regarding cooperation with the Peace Council going forward? Because they say both major political parties are not cooperating.
As I said, I do not even understand what the Peace Council is saying. Because there has not been a single occasion that they called on us. They asked us, come, let's meet. Come, let's look at this issue. Come, let's address this problem. Then we refuse to accede to their request. So I do not understand what they are saying. If they call us and they think that we are influential or important to resolving a particular issue, we will go and listen to them. Why not?
I'm grateful for your time. Mr. Kakwe Samoa is MPP Communications Director. Also on the other line is Mr. Boabeng Asamoah, who is MPP Communications Director. Mr. Boabeng, what justification do you have not to cooperate with the Peace Council in achieving electoral peace?
Aisha, that's a very serious statement. What do you mean by justification for not cooperating?
Because the Peace Council says you're not cooperating,
Please,
both political parties.
I understand there's a report from a specific regional director of the Peace Council, not even the National Peace Council. Let us put everything in context. First of all, the fact that there is heightened interest in political violence emanates from a point, and that point is the president's bold measures in putting in place certain factors after Ayawa's West Wagon. That cannot be denied. That reforms, recognition of political violence at political level, and the political will required to have put in place a vigilante act, to have put in place a dialogue for the political parties, and to have put in place the also West Wagon Commission of Inquiry. Now, those measures will necessarily time lag. That those measures have been put in place does not mean overnight violence will disappear. So what we need to look at is what is the level of violence and what is the containment situation? What are we measuring what we are seeing against? Are we seeing more violence than before? And when is before? Are we seeing reduced violence? And is there any limit at all? Is it the case that we're going to have zero violence? Is there a limit of toleration? Indeed, I don't want to go the Kakra way, that it's the NDC and it is the MPP, because until the police investigate and determine who is visiting violence or who, we cannot make those value judgments. We also believe that the NDC is deliberately heightening matters of violence in a way that will create the assumption that the registration exercise is being marred entirely by violence. We don't believe it is so.
Mr. Samoa,
it's been largely very, very peaceful. We believe it's been largely very, very peaceful. Yes.
There are concerns that the reason why we would have even more violence is because the NPP, for instance, has not condemned acts of people like the Minister for Special Initiatives, Howard Kumson's act, which people think is unacceptable.
What has she done that has to be condemned? That she defended herself? We have asked the police to look at it. So what are we condemning? We are condemning her and judging her. That's what I'm saying. The Peace Council, if it is not emanating from national level, it's emanating from regional level, we need to have a more scientific basis of measuring our mutual progress. Peace Council has helped to put in place a fantastic initiative that is party dialogue and the roadmap. The two major parties have signed onto the roadmap. It's a roadmap that involves law enforcement agencies as well as the parties themselves. And I'm saying that whatever it is, there is no way that in the affairs of human beings, overnight, because of those measures, we won't see anything at all. We will see some sort of disruption somewhere or other. The question we must be asking ourselves, and I hope we could put in place a scientific measure instead of this blanket violence thing, about the level we are seeing, whether there's a marked reduction, it's not tolerable at all and ought not to happen at all. But we are human beings, and therefore the measures must bite. and bite gradually.
At your party's level, what have you done so far to ensure we limit some of these acts?
We haven't issued instructions for anybody to be violent. We are a very restrained party. We respect the rule of law, and we believe that this exercise can go on without any violence.
So you won't at least caution your supporters?
Of course we have. What makes you think we haven't cautioned our supporters? We have. Everybody, I am in Adenta, I haven't seen a single incident of violence. Nowhere.
I'm grateful for your time.
I'm saying that we must have a scientific process for measuring what we are talking about. Otherwise, we create the impression that the country is ablaze, when that is not the case.
Thank you very much. Yao Boabian Samoa is NPP Communications Director. Adam Bona is back on Zoom. Adam Bona, you've been listening to both parties on how they intend to help resolve some of these violence. Satisfied?
Not really. Not satisfied. I mean, yes, I've listened to both of them. It looks like it's the ordinary Ghanaian, or, you know, the ordinary persons like myself who tend to suffer when these party faithfuls or, you know, call them vigilante groups amongst them, decide to take the laws into their own hands. And now we are beginning to have persons like Howard Kumsen, who seems to be leading the vigilante groups and not getting fired. And so as far as I'm concerned, until such a time that the president decides to be very, you know, swift in dealing with some of these matters, it is going to get out of hand, and it's gradually getting out of hand because if for nothing at all, one would have expected that if you didn't respect the police, once the military appeared, you would respect the military. But to have this young man who probably 1 or 2 days training at, you know, one of these camps, he comes and he's been given a firearm and is brandishing this firearm in front of uniformed military officers who are armed with assault rifles, and then you have a uniformed police officer and he's threatening him. And so I would say probably we have moved on as a nation. The days of coups and all that is gone. And so you have persons like him who take the law. I am not satisfied. If you ask me, yes, I mean, the Yababuna someone spoke. Yes, of course, within the Adenta municipality, this hasn't taken place. But that's not to say we haven't seen it. It is happening, you know, the length and breadth of the country. And as far as I'm concerned, we cannot use probably Adenta as a yardstick. If you go to Kaswa, you go to other places, there are widespread confrontations going on. You know, instead of resorting to the civilized way of doing things, challenging, you know, those who are not supposed to be registering, they are rather using violent measures in doing this. And why wouldn't they do that? Because you have Howard Kumsen once again, who decided to go into a registration center armed. And so for me, I doubt this young man who, you know, openly displayed a firearm in the Asawasi area would be punished. I've heard the police give a lame excuse. I mean, they are my friends, but it is very lame to say that, oh, we are investigating it. I would have wanted to hear, we have arrested him. Because if he was a police officer who actually who behaved this way towards any of his colleagues, he would have been arrested and probably facing service inquiry. If he's a military officer, they would have kept him in a guard room. So what is the difference? I mean, what is happening so that you have, once people are given certain cards and armed and said you are a national security official, you are above the law. For me, we need to tread cautiously, or else it looks like where we, you know, the bar seems to be taking us might not be too pleasant. And so we've got to tread cautiously, or else things might get out of hand. Looking at the way, instead of now fisticuffs, we have people brandishing guns, and guns are not toys. They kill. Guns, they are not toys. They kill. And so I am worried. They kill. Aisha.
All of us are worried. Adam Bona is security analyst, and he's been explaining why we need to curb these violences before it gets out of hand. The National Peace Council, meanwhile, is advocating a policy to restrain people other than security personnel from brandishing guns in public. Ashanti Regional Chairman made the call following Monday's incident at Asawasi, where a supposed national security operative pulled a gun at a registration center. Right Reverend Christopher Nyako Andam says appropriate laws are required to curb the trend, especially as the country counts down to the December polls. He warns of the worst if government fails to act decisively to bring tension down before December 7.
The National Peace Council condemns such activities totally. What we are saying is that police officers and other security men are always detailed to be at the polling stations and polling centers. If you go there and you have any grievance, report to the police. If it's for protection, report to the police. The police is there to protect lives. Instead of you yourself taking the law into your hands to deal with the person or something. But the pulling of guns, we plead with all citizens that when we are going to a police station, it's a place that is crowded. People always converge there. And if you are not careful and you pull a gun, you may kill. It's wrong. It's becoming a phenomenon. We must put a stop to it at once before it escalates to something else. It is not good. Going to the police station to register your name or to vote, the place is not a battleground.
Later in this bulletin, spare parts dealers in Aboso can vow to keep shops of their Nigerian counterparts locked, as they say it is part of series of action they will take against them for taking over their businesses.
If care is not taken, about 5 years out of us, they will take the market.
And in business, over 45% of Ghanaians said to be poor. We have the breakdown of the latest multi-dimensional poverty index when Sandra Peno comes up with business.
Hello everyone, good evening. I am Sandra Esinamath and I'm here for business. Over 45% of Ghanaians are said to be poor. This was captured in the maiden multi-dimensional poverty index by the Statistical Service. Northern, Ashanti and Volta regions are the top 3 poorest regions. There's more in the following report by Fred Duho.
The multi-dimensional poverty index shows that the poor are most deprived of health insurance, representing 64.6% and 44.1% in sanitation. Meanwhile, 13.2% and 14.1% of the sample population were deprived of asset ownership and school attendance respectively. Asset ownership, according to the report, classifies individual households that do not have a television, radio, refrigerator and telephone. It further explained that majority of the population may have access to the National Health Insurance card, but the coverage is not widespread, hence causing the surge in health deprivation. The proportion of the poor on regional basis indicates from the highest to the least. Northern region 17%, Ashanti 13%, Volta and Western region 11%, Brong-Ahafo region and Eastern region 10%, Central region 9%, Greater Accra 8%, Upper East and Upper West region 7% and 4% respectively. The report was undertaken in partnership with German Corporation for International Cooperation, GIS, United Nations Development Programme and other partners. The multi-dimensional poverty index measured easy access to education, health, electricity, water, housing, sanitation, cooking fuel, and overcrowding in bedroom. The main objective is to afford the government to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 2 by eradicating poverty by half and improving the living conditions of citizens while allocating national resources effectively.
Standard Chartered Bank Ghana has been given the approval by the Bank of Ghana to pay dividend to shareholders for 2019 financial year. This is despite an earlier directive by the Central Bank for banks to suspend payments due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Board chairman of the bank, Dr. Emmanuel Kuma, disclosed to shareholders in a virtual annual general meeting that it will pay dividends of 1 cedi 50 pesos per share following its strong performance in the year under review. Details in the following report.
The bank recorded a strong growth with underlying operating income increasing by 20% from the 2018 results. This growth, according to the managing director, Mansanete, is the highest percentage growth in the last 5 years. As a result of this success, the bank is going ahead to pay dividend to shareholders in contrast to directives from the central bank for a suspension of dividend payments due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. According to the board chairman, Dr. Emmanuel Kuma, Standard Chartered Bank is one of the banks given the green light to pay dividends.
Although we recommended the non-payment of dividend in the annual report, we have subsequently obtained approval from the Bank of Ghana to do otherwise. The board is therefore recommending a dividend payout of 1.56 Ghana cedis per share. This represents a 50% increase on what we paid for 2018. During the year, 2 new members were appointed to the board. So Sheikh Job was appointed Executive Director, and Mr. Kwabena Nifaini was appointed Independent Non-Executive Director.
Managing Director of the bank, Mansanete, added her outfit will be working strongly with clients that are likely to be affected by the pandemic to find a sustainable solution of mitigating the impact.
Working with vulnerable clients through this period, we can help reduce the impacts of the crisis on the business. We, however, continue to seek the opportunities in growth areas of the economy consistent with our strategic priorities, which we believe will mitigate the risks. We would also draw on lessons from the difficult periods the bank has been through in the recent past to minimize expected losses. This is evidenced by the recent announcement of our landmark 78 million euro structured financing of the Eastern Regional Hospital in collaboration with the Export Credit Agency of the UK government.
Standard Chartered further posted a strong profit before tax of more than 424 million cedis, representing a 30% increase in year-on-year.
That'll be all for business for now. I'm back after 8 p.m. with more. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you for staying with us. I'm Gary Al Smith, and this is The Sport. Now, in the past 6 months or so, Joy Sports has been systematically checking the progress of all the youth facilities that are being put forward and that are being constructed by the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So today, we went to the Azuma Nelson Youth Center to have a look at the progress of work there.
About 2 years ago, the Minister for Youth and Sports, Isaac Esiama, was at this very facility to cut a sod for the rehabilitation of the Azuma Nelson Sports Complex, rechristened the Azuma Nelson Youth Resource Center. This facility is expected to house nearly every single sporting discipline in the country, ranging from football, athletics, cricket, handball, basketball, and even a swimming pool. The facility does not only contain this, a computer center and a counseling center that is going to ensure that the youth who have psychological problems are attended to by psychologists or counselors who are going to be put in care of this facility. Initial period handed to contractor New Case Construction were 11 months. However, due to circumstances beyond their control, according to engineer on site Paul Atanga, is the reason why they were not able to complete within the period handed to them. 3 months ago, Joy Sports were here to have an update of work done so far and when work was going to be completed on this project.
So far, when we are done with the retaining wall, we can now work within the VIP. And then within 2-3 months, when the VIP is finishing, then it means we are handing over the project. Because as we are not working under the VIP, we are still working under the other stands. We are working on the pitch. So we are just, the VIP is now the determining factor. The moment we finish the VIP, it means we are handing over for Ghanaians. So when it is being approved, we start this month, barely 2-3 months, we should be handing over this project to Ghanaians to use.
3 months ago, the period for a completion of work appeared unknown, but now there seems to be certainty of when the state can get hold of this facility. August 31 has been dedicated as the timeline for the completion of work on this facility. For Joy Sports, I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
How far would you go for your dream? Well, for a young woman, very far indeed. She was thrown out of her home by her parents just because she wanted to play football. But for Inshira, it is a dream that will not die. This is a report from our desk by Susan Ampoma.
Atta, who has been with Ideal Ladies for the last 4 seasons, had to leave home due to lack of support from parents and the wider community, due to the perception that football is for men. This perception has left the talent of females in the sport to be neglected in society. Despite this major challenge, Ata's desire to play the game forced her to leave home.
Oh, I have to follow my dreams also, you see, and the best happiness you will get in life is like you doing what you like best, you see. So that's where my happiness is. That's my passion. And I don't think if me being a nurse, a teacher will make me happy. I don't have to put myself into somewhere I don't like. I won't feel happy there. Yeah, so I can't abandon my passion and then follow my family. I'm looking forward to learning more skills and improve my working skills to achieve big, like maybe play in the national team, play a team outside the country, or probably join the service, Ghana service. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Family is paramount in the lives of people. For the ideal lady star, she had to abandon them to follow her dream, but she confesses missing them.
Sometimes, because I feel like if they are supporting me, I would have gone far by now. So sometimes I feel, and the way I was thrown out of the house because of this, sometimes I feel bitterness, but I miss them also.
Inshura Ata has reunited with her father since leaving home after completing JHS.
Can trust us at the end of this story from our reporter Susan, and many thanks for your time. That's it for the sport. I'm Gary Al Smith. The conversation is also ongoing on social media, where Andre Ayew's team at the moment are losing. Swansea are losing to Brentford. You can get all the updates on our Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'll be back on the other side of 8. I'll see you soon.
Only here today because Becky is not here with me, but veteran actor Fred Amugi says he's concerned about individuals managing funds allocated to the creative arts industry by government. Last Thursday, during the budget reading, the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta announced that 50 million Ghana cedis had been allocated to the creative arts industry, something that has been met with mixed feelings by industry players. Speaking in an interview with IB, Fred Amugi stated that he is unhappy with people managing those monies.
Has also, and the media budget has allocated a certain 50 million Ghana cedis for the creative arts. Step in the right direction for you?
See, many times I never like to comment on the arts, the creative arts, when it comes to money. But you hear some amount today, and tomorrow it's like it has never been mentioned. Where the money goes, only God can tell. So many a time when I hear they voted this, they say you can come for a loan and do this and do that. I just sit back, say again, because you hear big amounts being, mentioned, and then when you think everything is all right, nothing. And the money is not there.
Is that to say you do not believe in the promise that has been made for the money, or you do not believe in the people it is being handed over to?
That is the point. As to who is handing over to who is my problem. Government uses people like God. God uses man to do things for man. That is it. So if the government says, hey, I want the creative arts to be this, somebody by all means will get whatever and is supposed to, work, cross over and work with the people. But as today, crossing over, whether it is done or not, only God can tell.
And that is Fred Amugi for you. And from Fred Amugi, musician Stephen Fiawo, popularly known as Prioritatia, has revealed that Eugene, who is a member of the music group Prior, is currently on break and working on projects in the United States of America. The group announced their comeback in 2018 after breakup in 2014 and graced a number of stages together. However, last year there were reports that two members of the group, Prior Titia and Prior Tintin, had sidelined Eugene, who is the choir master. The two have been seen on countless number of stages without choir master, which has sparked speculations among industry players. Speaking to IB, Prior Titia stressed the group is still intact, adding that Eugene is working on a project in the U.S., hence his absence.
It should tell you that I've been keeping a tab on you guys. Because, I mean, the love for Prior is still there. What is happening? Are the three of you still back, or is it just the two of you?
No, all three of us are back. Like you saw, nothing has changed. Right before we entered into the corona season, or whatever pandemic that we are in now, we had some things we were working on, but Eugene had some stuff to do abroad, so he had to quickly exit. And in due course, he's going to be back. The group is still very intact.
We have more songs together, just that when he's back, we'll come up with a video.
So it means that we shouldn't listen to all the rumors out there. The rumors that Eugene is out, there was some contract. It's all false.
No, not at all. There's nothing out there. I'll tell you, and I'll state emphatically that there's nothing going wrong. There's nothing. Everything you're hearing is false. The group is still intact. We're still very much together. He's just taking a break, but he's going to be back.
Okay, so please do not believe the rumors out there. You just heard it here being confirmed that the group is still together. Yes, the three of them. It's still a trio. It's never a duo. Yeah. Okay, so when are we to expect Prior your comeback? When are we to expect? I mean, any of the records you're working?
Yeah, we're working with Kiwa. We're working with our PA2s. We're working with no sound engineers now, but the song's ready now. I think KY's own is ready now. We are still working on our PA2 song. We have an underground engineer, Killers, who is also doing good. We have a welcome.
So let me steady here for our viewers to know that we're actually working on an album. Yes, we're working on an album. You see, the fact that he's not here doesn't change anything, because we can do songs. We've seen a lot of featuring being done, here and abroad and everywhere, that you don't necessarily need to be together to record. So, in due course, you guys are going to be. We're going to let you guys know what we're working on currently.
But have you? Yes, Prior is back. Prior is doing what they do best. Prior is giving us what we miss. Are you featuring any of the new act, or are you featuring anybody at all?
Yeah, we'll have a couple of new boys we're working with, but we want to keep that also as a surprise, and in due time, everything is going to be let out.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you heard it, but when should we expect the album?
I think by the end of this year.
End of this year?
Yes.
And how many? Sorry.
End of this year.
So many tracks. You should be expecting not less than 17 songs on the album. Yeah.
That is a lot of work.
Okay, you heard that from Prior, and Tonto Dike in Nigeria has revealed that she has forgiven her ex-husband Olakunle Churchill for the sake of their child King Andre. In an interview with journalist Dele Mumudu, Tonto, while speaking on the importance of forgiveness, said she has come to realize that forgiveness is not about the next person, but about oneself. She added that she forgives easily now, but doesn't like being provoked by the things a person does after she has forgiven him or her. And Tonto Dike, they're talking about forgiveness. That wraps up the Showbiz segment. We'll be back with more on Joy News Prime. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now to the rest of our stories. And spare parts dealers in Abosokan are vowing to keep shops of their Nigerian colleagues locked, as they say it is a small part of series of action they will take against them for taking over their businesses. Co-chairman of the association, Siam Pedu, says they will do this even at the peril of their lives. Meanwhile, the leadership of the Nigerian Traders Association of Ghana is urging members to resist what it describes as oppression by the Ghanaian traders. Maxwell Agbagba has more in the following report.
See the shops that have been locked, quite a number of them. So just some minutes ago, I came from the 57th shop that was locked here at the Abosokan market. A lot of them are becoming impatient. They say they've reported the matter to the police. All of those affected are gathered in front of the president of the Nigerian, Spare Parts Dealers Association. They are here quite worried. Let's speak to them. Let's find out from them what the situation is, what exactly happened yesterday. Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. My name is Sukwemeka Naja. I'm the president of Nigeria Union of Traders in Ghana. Listen, I think enough is enough. We are not going to take it anymore. As a national president, I'm commanding Nigerian traders to defend themselves from any body, from any guta or any association. There's a lot of millions of Ghanaians living in Nigeria doing businesses and nobody is challenging them. Why are they closing our shop every day? They have no right to do that. Let them come and kill me. This is my shop. I have been here for over 25 years and I'm ready now to face them. Who are they? Let them come. If anybody comes here to kill me, I'm ready to die. They will not close this shop. Do you know how much I pay to government of Ghana? My container was detained. 500,000 Ghana cedis was given to me as a bill, and I have paid it. Those goods are the warehouse. Where will I sell it? 500,000 Ghana cedis. Where will I recoup my money back? If they want us to go, they can buy my goods today, I will go tomorrow. I'm tired of staying in this country, in this kind of illegality. If government continue allowing them to continue working that way, they are putting our life in danger and we should stop. So stop now.
Okay, so you just heard you just heard him speaking.
Listen, you cannot do things.
Okay, let's listen to what's happening.
Here is Africa. Here is ECOWAS. And I want you to defend yourself now. Yes. Enough is enough. Yes. Enough is enough. Yes. We are ready to die. Yes. Let them kill us, all of us. Yes. But I tell you, our life matters in this country. If anything happens to any Nigerians, those executives of the trade union in Ghana will never go scot-free.
When you go to my hometown, Newi, you see a lot of them that are doing shoemakers. Some of them have shops. Some of them do repair works. We are living there. When I travel like this, I went there to eat banku. You understand? But I don't see the reason why our brothers are doing like this. I think these things, in fact, I'm not happy about it. It's not good because the business, one person cannot do business. You understand?
Have they been telling you what really is the problem? Do you know?
Okay, what they are saying is that we are swearing the market for them. They should go out from the market. Okay. We are swearing the market. So that's what they are saying, but I don't understand the meaning of we are swearing the market, because when I went someplace and buy market, you bought the same items, you come, you sell the same price I sell. I don't see the reason why you say I'm swearing the market.
We are currently here at the Kaneshi police station where the leadership of the Abosokan Spare Parts Dealers Association and the Nigerian Spare Parts Dealers Association will be meeting the commander here. The member of parliament for the area is also here, and I've been speaking to the vice chairman of the Spare Parts Dealers Association, and he has been telling me about what necessitated the locking of the shops owned by the Nigerians.
If you're having a stomach problem, and you don't shout loudly, no one will attend to you. Even the doctor will attend to you. Are you getting me? So we are shouting. We want them to come to our aid. If they are sleeping, we want them to wake up and come to our aid. Last year, His Excellency Dr. Bawumia organized a town hall meeting. I asked him the same question. What are you doing about this situation? Because we have been fighting, quarreling, going demonstration, closing our shop. What are you doing? And he referred that question to Honorable Chairman, and he told us, oh, 1 month you solve all the problems for you. So please exercise patience. Up till now, nothing is happening.
Okay.
So we are aware that it's illegal, but we don't have anything to do. We have to go all out and close it. If to the point of death, we are ready for it. And you know what? Previously, about 8 years or 10 years ago, if you have 20,000 Ghana cedis, you rent a shop for 10 years as goodwill, and every month maybe you pay 20 cedis or 10 cedis as a rent. Because of these foreigners, now, if your time is due, before you realize they've taken the shop from you, because they are paying 50,000, 60,000 for 5 years, and we don't have the capacity. So, if care is not taken, about 5 years out of us, they will take the market.
The Auditor Municipal Assembly has undergone a sword-cutting ceremony to begin a 4-kilometer road project under the auspices of the Ghana Secondary City Support Project, an initiative of the World Bank. The project is part of government's overall effort to achieve the objective of the National Urban Policy Framework, which aims to promote sustainable development. Municipal Chief Executive of Auditor, Fred Obing-Owusu, says government will continue to deliver the best for the people in the area.
The World Bank-sponsored project is a construction of 4-kilometer Tafo-Ahimbronum area road, which includes construction of drains, pedestrian walkway, and installation of a street light to improve visibility.
As part of government overall effort to achieving the objective of the National Urban Policy Framework, the government, with funding from the World Bank through the Ministry of Local Governments and Rural Development, has initiated the Ghana Secondary City Support Program with the aim to improve urban management and provision of basic urban services in 25 selected municipal assemblies across the country, of which the Auditor Municipal Assembly is one of the beneficiaries.
The Ghana Secondary City Support Program will improve urban mobility and enhance motor and pedestrian traffic. The project is expected to be completed in 9 months.
The project is expected to be completed in 9 calendar months, beginning from today, the 22nd of July 2020. I will take this opportunity to entreat all relevant stakeholders, including the project-affected persons, to cooperate with the Municipal Assembly for the successful completion of the project within the period scheduled.
Municipal Chief Executive takes the opportunity to entreat all relevant stakeholders to cooperate with the Assembly for the successful completion of the project within the scheduled period. The contractor in charge of the project pleads with traders by the roadside to also cooperate with the engineer. A report by Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin.
A collapsed bridge linking Emina and Apemso in the Ofori municipality has made vehicular movement almost impossible and cut off communities from each other. Road users say more than 6 cars have plunged into the river in recent times as flood water covers the remaining part whenever it rains. Residents have lost hope despite repeated promise by authorities and have the bridge fixed. Nana Senso Mensah has more in the following report.
Road users have been enduring difficulty using the collapsed bridge for the past 5 years.
Bridge in the your father they be any complaints a mother of family in Memphis. Yes, Rabbi so betina Shamaya Naja.
Now this bridge is a death trap. Most of the drivers have stopped using this route. We want authorities to fix it.
Accident bit me here.
Very high amity. Na kwane de anya kra boss. Bridge no nyo say bridge na bububu. Anya ndo. Kada de bia it some mabe.
I'm a driver and I live in this area. This bridge has been in a bad state for the past 5 years. Our usual calls on government to fix the bridge have proven futile.
There appears to be some hope as Member of Parliament for Ofori Dr. Iman Omafo indicates rehabilitation work will be completed in a month's time.
So for the past 3 or 4, I think it's about 5 years, this bridge has been an issue. So when we came to power, we decided to use it as one of our IPEP projects. You know, IPEP is the Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication Program, what people call 1 million one constituency. So this is one of the projects that we selected for the IPEP, and we have gone through the procurement process, and this is the time that the contractor has come to sight.
Dr. Malfo explains reconstruction of the bridge will make way for asphalting of the entire Minakote stretch before the end of the year.
Yeah, so Atachi construction is also going to do asphaltic overlay of some selected roads. And this road from Kote, Dediako, Kodiekrom to Emena is one of the 6 roads that will be asphalted very soon. They will be waiting for this work to complete, and then they can come and do this. So this is just a kind of predecessor project.
Municipal Chief Executive Gloria Timagambra appealed to road users to exercise cooperate with the contractor when work begins. Nana Asensumensa reporting.
Okay, in Accra, in Parliament, the minority is demanding the whereabouts of Minister for Special Initiative, Hawa Kumsin, after she failed to show up in the House today to respond to questions. The minister was recently questioned by police for shooting at a voter registration center, was expected in Parliament to respond to questions on developmental projects in Nsawam. But Majority Chief Whip Amea Chirme told the House she is unavailable. NDC MP for Adaklu Kwame Agboja demanded explanations on why the minister is absent but got no response. Speaker Professor Michael Kwe urged MPs to avoid showing excess solidarity towards their colleagues so the House can do its work as expected.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Special Development Initiatives is not available, and the Business Committee, the meeting this morning, has rescheduled the question to next week, Friday.
Thank you very much.
Right, Mr. Speaker. The Chief Whip didn't tell us exactly where the Minister for Special Initiatives is. If you can substantiate,
Honorable members, order, please.
If you can substantiate where the Minister for Special Initiatives is.
Let our solidarity not overextend. As it stands, it's obvious that we cannot go on with any questions. But I will say, let ministers be reminded and let these arrangements be fair so that parliamentary business can also go on.
A Kumasi-based educationist, Theodosia Jackson, is drawing attention to what she observes is relaxation of measures to contain the spread of COVID-19. She's worried people continue to flout the protocols with so much impunity despite increasing confirmed cases. Mrs. Jackson, who is principal of Jackson College of Education, wants stringent measures introduced during the partial lockdown revisited. And Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin once again has this report.
The college is on a nationwide campaign to combat the COVID-19 pandemic in Ghana as a social responsibility initiative. It is collaborating with Sinapi Aba Savings and Loans on the project launch in Kumasi with a call on government to intensify efforts to contain the virus.
This COVID spread is attitudinal, character, behavior, the way and manner we behave. It bothers me so much when I hear in my ears that COVID has come to stay. So I keep on asking myself, am I going to wear this mask for how long? Over 70 years. And if Almighty will add 30 to the 70, am I supposed to wear this anywhere I go?
She says it is unfair for section of the population to disregard the protocols and endanger the lives of law-abiding citizens.
I just want to draw the government's attention this morning. We are very serious here. When you even go to church, they take your temperature. They give you forms to fill to indicate where you will sit. You wash your hands, go through all the protocols before you enter. The people who go through all these protocols, where have they come from? They are the very people at the market. COVID has made some people gain in their businesses. And as I stand here on behalf of all private schools, we have lost so much. We can't even pay our workers. Children are at home. Shall we misbehave and look on for children to remain at home? In future, where will be our doctors, our nurses, and even the president? COVID, go away. Attitudinal behavior, character. Some people.
Mining giant Anglo Gold Ashanti is partnering with Otumfuo Setu Charity Foundation to introduce basic school children to distance learning via radio. Over 10,000 targeted class 6 pupils and junior high students will be assisted to improve standards in 5 districts of the Adanse and Amansia traditional areas. The initiative is meant to reduce the impact of COVID-19 on teaching and learning, especially in rural communities. Parliamentary has more.
Average BECE performance of schools in participating districts stand at 80%. Partners, including education directories in the respective districts, want to take it to 90% in the next edition. Anglo Gold Ashanti launched a social management plan last year to leverage social responsibility aimed at diversifying Obuasi's economy. A key component of the scheme is improvement of education in the mines catchment area. Beneficiaries of the partnership program will also receive at least 3 supplementary English and maths reading and workbooks for free. The mining company has already released 150,000 Ghana cedis for the project, in addition to the provision of motorbikes to education circuit supervisors. Emmanuel Bedu, a senior sustainability manager of Anglo Gold Ashanti.
With COVID coming in and given the fact that we cannot do anything significant on the education intervention, we look for an opportunity to partner with the Otumfuo Charity Foundation to print and distribute a number of supplementary readers and workbooks, and with a complementary radio education to ensure that children read the books and then comprehend it. And this was actually a stopgap measure or an intervention they rolled out to ensure that whilst because of COVID children are home and the third term is somehow missing on the education calendar for this academic year, the children will not suffer much. So we saw that as a very useful intervention, and obviously we believe that if children have a good foundation education, then they can excel in the educational ladder. That will give them a very strong basis for the fact that AGA is back. Obuasi should significantly visibly see the benefit of the mine, and we believe we can never do this without education.
Yes, Dr. Thomas Ejakupuku is the executive director of the Otumfuo Charity Foundation. He told the launching ceremony in Obuasi the foundation will see to the strict implementation of the program for success.
The books all printed will be distributed to the children, and we are ensuring that the beneficiaries, who are the children, receive those books. We do this by going from one village to another, one town to another. We ensure the COVID protocols, bring the children together and hand these books over to them. Indeed, we don't give the books to people to keep them anywhere. We hand them to the beneficiaries. The idea of giving the books is to ensure continuity. Because for children, as long as they stay at home, they tend to forget. And education will not wait for your aid. And therefore, we are making sure that we look for all things possible to ensure that education is continual.
Meanwhile, the Obuasi Municipal Director of Education, Letitia Obin, has commended Anglo Gold Ashanti for the initiative, adding it will go a long way to improve education standards. From Obuasi, for Joy News, Parliamentary reporting.
Grateful you could join me on the second part of business. Parliament has approved a supplementary budget of 11.6 billion Ghana cedis for the Finance Minister to spend. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, who was in the House today, insisted he never said 54 million cedis was spent on food during the lockdown period, adding the figure is far lower than what was reported.
It is truly unfortunate that an attempt has been made to politicize the issue of providing food for our brothers and sisters in need during the lockdown period. It is also unfortunate that the impression has been created that the total amount of 54 million Ghana cedis was used for only hot meals over these 3 weeks of a lockdown period. Mr. Speaker, permit me to provide some clarification on the issue. We estimated we will need an amount of approximately 40 million to provide hot meals to the vulnerable at 5 cedis a pack during the lockdown period. However, out of this estimated amount, we spent some 12 million on hot meals, including the cost of distribution. Mr. Speaker, government budgeted 40.3 million for basic and cooked food items. We spent 42.2 million. It is this 12 million spent on hot meals with the 42 million spent on uncooked food items that gave the total of 54 million as stated in the media review. Mr. Speaker, the 12.1 million for hot meals fed over 150,000 people during the lockdown, including the cost of transportation and other operational costs.
Away from that, telecom giant MTN has revoked the licenses and blocked access of nearly 50 merchant agents for overcharging their clients through mobile money transactions. According to MTN, the action followed several complaints against the merchants. The affected merchants thrown the Bolgatanga office of MTN to demand explanation for the action against them. They were made to write down apology letters and sign a bond not to repeat the offense. Some of the merchants spoke to Joy Business.
Yesterday, I experienced something that I don't like it at all. My SIM just got blocked. Then I cannot send, I cannot do cash out. And that is very bad. So in fact, I'm looking for a lawyer to defend me in court with MTN, because this is very nonsense. If I'm doing business with you and you are not happy about it, you tell me so that I'll stop the business. It's an agreement with it. So why should you block my business? Since yesterday, I have not done anything. So it means I'm losing.
Is it true you're overcharging?
Nothing. That is the problem I'm even facing. If you know I'm overcharging, come to me. We're doing business together. Come and check. I am writing everything. Everyone who comes to do any transaction, I write. Just come and do general checks and call some 5-10 people and find out whether they paid extra money.
I just picked my phone yesterday afternoon to do some transaction. I tried and then I got the feedback that sender account is inactive. So when I saw it, that I thought maybe it's network problem or something like that. I waited small time, I tried again, the same response that I got. So I tried calling my supervisor. I called him and then all the excuse he gave me was that from starting from Langbensi, Gambaga, Nalergu, that all merchants in those areas are overcharging customers. I said, so how do you know all of us are overcharging customers? That they did their survey. And I can't remember somebody coming to my point, like to either withdraw money or send money and then I will charge.
The customer came to me to make a cash in. Then when I tried cashing in, the response I get was sender account is inactive. Sender account is not active. So I thought maybe it was a problem from the merchant or it was a problem of the customer. So later I tried it. I traced on my own listen, then I saw that it was a problem from mine. So when I called the MTN office, what they told me was my account has been suspended because we charge customers or we overcharge customers. And I saw to it that if even you are suspecting that we charge customers and you are going to suspend my account, you should signal me so that I'll have an information of what is going on. Because we also do business and we use our monies into the business. So once you block my account without notifying me, all of a sudden customers come then I don't know what to do. It means the business is of no use. We don't only do MTN mobile money, we do Vodafone cars as such. But we've never experienced anything like that from the Vodafone people. So today I had to close up my business, take a motor, buy fuel. Since yesterday, I had to run from here to Bolga, only for them to tell me that I should sign a bond that I will never charge customers.
do that. We'll do that, and when we get a response, we'll bring it to you in our subsequent bulletins. Now, Joy Business is holding a very important discussions tomorrow focusing on sustainable jobs during and after COVID-19. The Joy Business Jobs and Salaries Roundtable, which takes place at the Labadi Beach Hotel, will bring together key players in the employment industry to deliberate on these issues. Head of Business Programming here at the Multimedia Group Limited, Odilia Ntiamwa, has been prepping us ahead of that program.
But certain companies are just going straight away, just issuing half salaries, sending people home without really telling them. At what point should companies even make a disclosure of what is actually sitting on their books? Should you really know as an employee? All of these things are some of the things that we'll be discussing.
Interesting you bring up salaries, because I've been bugging you for a raise, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that after the program.
That's a good one.
And so what speakers are we expecting at the event?
Yeah, so we're expecting Frank Auditor, who is with the ILO. We're expecting also Rose Annan, who is coming from the National Labour Commission. We're expecting Labour expert Austin Game. Austin Game is actually one of the framers of the labour law in 2003. So it's very good that we get him there to put it in proper perspective. I'm hearing that there's actually going to be a review pretty soon. So this conversation really sits at the right place.
Nice.
Bryce Rekubrobe, who's the Deputy Minister for Employment, he'll be there providing proper perspective as to what government is doing, looking at the long haul. There have been changes in what we even do now at the workplace. Companies are looking at working virtual. If we're going to do virtual, it means that it's likely that some people will lose their jobs. What is also the skill set for us as a people going virtual? And when you look at our educational system, does it fit into this kind of skill set that we're looking at? So that is why we will have somebody like the minister actually there. We're also getting Alex Frimpong, the Ghana Employers Association also there, and then the TUC boss will also be there.
Interesting lineup. So that event is tomorrow, July 30 at the Labadi Beach Hotel. We will bring together key players, as you heard, and that sound clip to deliberate on some of the issues confronting jobs in the country. Away from now, time now to check some other headline stories making headlines locally. And Ghana is less industrialized today than it was in 1970. That's according to the IEA. Well, let's find out more in the Business News Summary.
Director of Research at the Institute of Economic Affairs has said that Ghana is less industrialized now than it was in 1970 under the first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. According to Dr. John Kwache, many of the industries established under Dr. Nkrumah have all been run down, privatized, and some left to go waste. Dr. Kwache said manufacturing output in particular as a percentage of GDP has dropped from 15% to 10% today, and the deindustrialization of the country in the past 50 years has retarded Ghana's socio-economic growth. Aviation Minister Joseph Kofi Adda has warned of impending forceful removals of communication masts belonging to telecommunication and media companies that are impeding work and effective operations at the Wa Airport after earlier warnings had been ignored. According to the minister, who was speaking on the floor of Parliament to update members on progress of the work, the masts, 8 in number, are sited in the airways or approach path around the airport, and they belong to the Ghana Broadcasting Company and some other media firms. The Accra Regional Police Command on Tuesday night arrested the leadership and some members of the Abosokan Spare Parts Dealers Association in Accra. The arrest follows the decision by the association to shut all retail shops belonging to foreigners in the enclave. More than 100 retail shops belonging to foreigners were locked by the association, whose leadership has vowed not to open them because they are engaged in retail business in contravention of the trade laws of Ghana.
And if you are a lover of gold, you sure can get it around $1,959 an ounce. The market figures are up next in Commodity News. That'll be all for business tonight with me, Sandra Esinamap. And there's more news on myjoyonline.com/business. Do stay home, stay safe, and stay beautiful. Thanks so much for watching.
It is time now for the interactive segments. You've been following the clash between Ghanaian traders and Nigerian traders. Spare parts at Abosokan Spare Parts dealing area say they would close the shops of their Nigerian counterparts because they've taken over their businesses. The Nigerians are not taking it lightly at all, and this is what we posted on Facebook. Guta foreign traders dispute, and it's generated a number of comments. 90 comments, 32 shares, 125 likes. Bontain Jefta says, the markets in Africa are flooded with both genuine and fake goods. The ultimate consumers are the victims of fake goods and can't tell where they were manufactured. Unfortunately, no African government has so far shown interest to encourage domestic manufacturing industries to grow and be self-reliant. As long as the situation remains sane, consumers will continue to pay the price. So Usuraf K says Ghanaian traders overprice their goods and compound the already existing hardships. These Nigerians, on the other hand, make theirs cheaper with equal quality, and that mostly sparks all this hatred towards the McDonald Bruce says, please, this thing should be handled carefully. The spare parts and electrical dealers should also bear in mind that we also have our brothers and sisters doing business in Nigeria, and if care is not taken, their problem will be worse than this. So all these unions shall handle this with care. Isado says, let's play a fair game here. Nigerians ain't strangers in Ghana as far as they are involved in illegal business and paying their taxes, including the operators having their resident permits. We need to build Africa as a continent all together and promote ourselves, grown the entrepreneurship spirit in the continent. Again, we are one people of Africa, so let the government intervention flow for a great impact in both parties. Best interest, may God help Africa and make us great. Jonathan Owu says, the United States of Africa for the way. ECOWAS laws must be reviewed so that everyone can do his or her business freely and that the region. Fauzia says, I don't get why they always frustrate the Nigerian shops. Why won't you go and close up those Lebanese and Indian shops? They are the ones taking money from Africa to their countries. And Gambo Bash says, because of greed and wickedness, you put high prices on your goods, and now one is buying and you are putting blame on Nigeria. And no one is buying and you are putting blame on Nigerians because they're selling their goods on the real, with the real pricing. Gordon Eyake Nama says, why was the exercise carried out at night? Is there no hidden agenda somewhere? Nigerian government, we're watching. Adam Obed says, you guys should leave the Nigerians alone, and also my Nigerian brothers, please obey the laws of Guta peace. And Eben Kwame says, United Africa is a joke. As I always say, what worries me most is if it's where the USA doing that, then all the bad talks, BLM in Ghana, hypocrites people, leaders, and all of that. And Mubarak says this matter is complicated, but the law is law. Both parties keep going back and forth over this issue. And those are some comments on the interactive segment. That'll be it for the interactive segment, and that'll be it for the bulletin as well. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. PM Express is up next. Enjoy the rest of our programs.